Hello guys. So today I'll be attempting the GMAT Focus Edition Practice Test 1. And this is kind of a walkthrough. So those who have attempted the test and are facing timing issues or have issues with like how to approach or how what should be a strategy or you want to see someone attempt it. So you can go through the video, but only do it after you have written the test yourself. Otherwise, it's a waste of a test, right? So I'm starting from the very beginning itself. So start off with the tutorial. So just the instructions which are there in the actual test, what you will get. So uh, in the actual test, this tutorial which is there, this information, you can read it in 2 minutes to review. And this is also like between sections in the actual test, you will have time breaks. In the tutorial here, the focus edition practice test here, the breaks are not timed, okay? But then let us go through what they are trying to say here, right? So this is pretty simple information. Most of you should be aware of how the GMAT screen would look like. So that's what they have kind of displayed it here, okay? I'm just quickly going through these things. So they are talking about passages sort of questions where the same text remains and then you have multiple questions and you can't skip. This question review and edit, that's the add-on thing that they have done, right, with the GMAT. So here, if you look at it, you can, after each section, you can review all the questions, as many as you want, provided you have time, which you most likely won't in most cases. But then you can review and then make an edit of up to 3 answers. So if you have doubts in any question while solving, the good plan is to jot down those numbers or remember the numbers, okay, somewhere, and then keep that in mind. So once you are done with the test, you can come back to those. So any question which you think is taking a lot of time, like more than 2 minutes have gone by and yet you are nowhere near. So in such cases, what you can do is randomly mark something, move on, just note down what the question number was, okay? And then you can come back. You can also bookmark it directly on the test, okay, by this clicking this bookmark icon. And then once you come back, when you click the icon, it will get removed and then you can uh, go to each question in that manner, okay, whichever questions you have bookmarked. So let's say you have doubt in 5 of them, you go to each of the 5 and then, but you can change only 3, okay? So that's the idea. So let's move on. So as we said, like there's an optional break of 10 minutes, okay, which you can take once, but then I mean it's up to you. And testing rules, this is pretty obvious. All the questions in the GMAT Focus Edition will be proprietary material, so you can't cheat, and hiring someone to test for you is obviously considered cheating. Okay, so that's for the actual test, not this one. This is just a practice test, which is available free for everyone, right? Whoever registered for the GMAT is entitled to get this Focus Edition Practice Test 1 and Practice Test 2 for free. So that should not be a problem. Practice test 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, they have to be purchased from the GMAT. So there might be issues with giving walkthroughs with those. So I don't think there's an issue with practice tests 1 and 2 as such. And you know how to use a whiteboard, right? Use a physical whiteboard or the online one. And then you can choose the section order. Okay. So here, when you are choosing, see, you have lots of possibilities. Okay. You can start with quant, then verbal, then data insights, or verbal, then data insights and quant, and so on. I'd always suggest start with your stronger section. Okay. So if you are confident in quant, then start with quant. If you're confident in verbal, then start with verbal. Don't start the test with a section which is not your strength. Okay. So I'm just choosing one here. I am more of a quant guy, right? So I prefer doing the quant and then verbal. but quant and data insights could have been better, but then like that would be like too much of quant like back to back. So just for variety kind of a thing, I'm doing quant, then verbal, then back to quant type of questions again, data insights. All right. So here you have 21 questions and you have 45 minutes. I'm trying to keep all the rough work on the screen so that you can see how I'm doing rough work if I'm doing any calculations and stuff. Okay. So we'll start. Okay. So this guy has yeah, $63 in $5 bills and $1 bills, which cannot be the number of $1 bills. Okay. So we basically have 5x if there are x $5 bills and y $1 bills. So 5x plus y should be 63. And we need basically 5x to be 63 minus y. So this should be divisible by 5. So with 13 here, 63 minus 13, 50 is divisible. So this is possible. With 21, 63 minus 21 is 42. That's not possible. This would be possible. 28 would give you something ending in a 5. That is possible. 33 is definitely possible. So your answer would be second. All right, next. Which of the numbers is the greatest? Okay, so they are all in the square root third notation form. So how do we compare these? One easy way could be maybe to just square them out because the bigger number will remain the biggest. Okay, so if you square the first one, this is gonna be 5 by 4. The second one is just 5 by 2. Then it is 4 by 5. Then it is 2 over 5 and it's 1 over 5. So if you look at it, these are all fractions. 5 by 2 is 2.5 and this is obviously 1.25. So 5 by 2 is the greatest. That means root over of 5 over 2 is the greatest. So that is the second option. Next, Bob expected to spend a total of $9 to buy some pasta salad at a fixed price per pound. However, the price of the salad was 20 cents more per pound than Bob had expected. So if it was actually supposed to be P, he ended up purchasing at point 0.2, P plus point 0.2. He spent $9. So he spent $9 only and bought half pound less of salad. So basically what they're trying to say is, and the question is asking is how much did Bob spend per pound of the salad? Okay. So per pound of the salad. So if that's P, then we are basically saying that 9 over P minus 9 over P plus zero point 0.2. Okay. That should be half. All right. Now this is going to be a quadratic. So instead of solving that, let's plug in values. All right. So if I plug in, start with 1.8, 9 over 1.8 is 5 minus this will become 2. So 9 over 2 is 4.5. So the difference is 0.5, which is satisfying clearly straight away. If you look at the other numbers, see 1.85 cannot be because it's not a factor. You're going to get decimals, right? Some recurring type of decimals, okay? 1.9 is not divisible by 19. 1.95, that's 13 basically. It's a multiple of 13, right? 1.95. 13 times 15, 195. It's not, 13 is not there. 2 could have been, but then 2 will make this 2.2 and 9 is not divisible by 2.2. So, I mean, any of these should not be the answer. So this is perfectly fine. So here we have a probability question. It's about probability and number of defective fuses. So it says there are 7 fuses, 3 of which are defective and 4 are not. In the graph above, the left and middle bars are the same height and the right bar is half the height. Okay. So it's midway. The heights and then represent respectively the probabilities of obtaining 0 defective fuses, 1 defective fuse, and 2 defective fuses. When 2 fuses are selected randomly without replacement from the box. Okay. One of the bar's heights is incorrect. The correct height is k times of the heights shown. Which of the following choices of the bar and the value of k would result in an accurate representation of the labeled probabilities? So we know that there are 7 fuses, 3 of which are defective, 4 are not. And we are trying to figure out the probability of obtaining 0, 1, and 2 when 2 fuses are randomly selected without replacement. So if you select 2 from this 7, okay, you're selecting 2 fuses from the 7 and you want 0 defective fuses. So that would be 4C2 because you don't want any defective fuse. So that means both are not defective. 4C2 out of 7C2. Alternatively, you could have also said 4 out of 7 times 3 out of 6. This is the same thing. So this is 2 by 7. Probability of 1 defective would be 4C1. So 1 not defective and 3C1, 1 defective out of 7C2. Or we could have also done 4 over 7 times 3 over 6. Okay. But then here there is a problem. 4 over 7 times 3 over 6 is basically referring to the first one is not defective and the second one is defective. We must do the other way where the first one is defective and the second one is not. So we need to kind of double it. Okay. So whichever way you do it, the result is coming to 4 over 7. And probability that 2 of them are defective. So both defective. So that is 3C2 by 7C2. Or we can write it as 3 over 7 times 2 over 6. So that would be 1 over 7. So that means if you were to draw a bar graph like this, then for 0 defective, if it is this height, then for 1 defective, it should be double of that. And for 2 defective, it should be half of the first because 2 by 7 has become 1 by 7. It should be like this. So if I look at the diagram, then this one is correct. This one is correct because they are half. This one is not correct. So that means this one has to be changed. So the middle bar is the one which is defective. And the actual height would be 2 times because the diagram has drawn it here. It should be double. So the correct height is 2 times. So that means the middle bar and the correct K value is 2. So that is the second option. Let's go to the next question. So it says city A and B are located 610 kilometers apart. Okay. At 8 a.m. A starts. So this is from city A. Let's say this is A and that's B. And this guy A starts from A to B at average speed of 90 kilometers per hour. And this is at 8 a.m. At 9:30, that means after driving for 1 hour 30 minutes, so 1.3 hours. So that means 1.5 hours later, 1.5 times 9 would be 135 kilometers you have already traveled. Okay. On the same day, R starts from B to A at an average speed of 100 kilometers per hour. And this is at 9:30. 9, this is 9:30 a.m., not 9 a.m. All right. Now, how long in hours and minutes to the nearest minute did Ryan drive before meeting the other guy? Okay. So they meet somewhere. So when do they meet? That's the question. So this guy is moving at 90 kilometers per hour. This guy is moving at 100 kilometers per hour. The distance between the two places was 610 kilometers. You have already traveled 135 kilometers. So that means the remaining distance would be, if you subtract, that's going to be 475 kilometers. So 475, so time taken 475 divided by 100 plus 90, opposite direction, so 190. So this should be somewhere around, if you look at two times, that would be 380. 19 twos are 380. That would leave another 95, right? So that means 95 over 90 is half, so 0.5. So 2.5 hours, so 2 hours 30 minutes is the answer. So that is option one. Which of them equals 5,000? Now this is pretty straightforward. We just need to compute. So if we look at this, adjust the places. So this shifts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. So let's shift 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5 places. So it would be 3 followed by this. So that's not the right answer. This will be 3, 2 places by 6. Obviously not. This one would be 1, 2, 3, 4 places. So 3 followed by 4 zeros by 6 is 5,000. So that's correct. So that is the third option. The string of digits 13579 113 dot 9 is formed by merging together the decimal representations of the odd integers from 1 to 99. So that means they are basically written down 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, all the way till 997, 999. That's your number. Counting from the left, so that means this side, what is the 110th digit? So if you look at the first five, these are odd digits. So the first five are single digits basically. So 5 digits are gone here. Now to reach 110, that means you need to count another 105 digits. Now 105 digits, now these digits will come two at a time. So that means 105 by 2. So that would be 52 numbers. Okay, that would be 52 numbers plus one digit extra. Now, assuming that everything is like two digits, okay? But then we realize that till 100, there are only going to be 50 odd numbers. So that's exceeding, right? So that's not the right way of going ahead. So what we do is starting from 1 all the way till 99. Okay, so that means out of the 100 numbers that we have, okay? So 1 to 100 basically, okay? What I'm trying to say is from 1 to 100, out of the 100 numbers that we have 50 odd numbers, right? And those 50 odd numbers are these 1, 3, 5, 7 till 99. Out of which the first five odd numbers are written down here. 5 digits gone. So the remaining 45 odd numbers are there till 100, okay? These 45 odd numbers would give us 90 digits. These 5 would give us 5 digits. So we already have 95 digits, okay? But we have to get to the 110th digit. That means we need to count another 15 digits, okay? We need to count another 15 digits from now on. So digits now will occur three at a time, right? So the numbers are of 3 digits. So we need 5 numbers. 5 odd numbers after 99. Okay. So those numbers would be 101, 103, 105, 107, and 109. That would give us our 15 digits. So 15 digits plus 95 digits here. Okay. 45 digits, 45 numbers here, double of that 90 digits. 5 numbers here, double of single digits only, 5 digits. So 95 digits plus these 15 digits would give us the 110th digit, and that would be therefore 9. So that is the fifth option. Let us quickly mark that. Next, for the rental of a certain type of car, rental agency R charges a fee of $30 per day, okay, plus 0.2 per mile in excess of 100 miles. Okay, that's important. For the rental of the same type of car, redundancy S. This is R, this is S. Charge is 65 per day with free unlimited mileage. So that means you travel any number of miles. So there's no restriction on that. If a car of this type is to be rented for 3 days, okay, and will be given the same number of miles each day, for what number of miles will the cost of renting R the same as that of S? Okay. So for 3 days, S would cost this. And for R, the cost would be, this is $30 per day. So for 3 days, it would be 3 times 30 plus 20 cents fee for each mile traveled in. So if I assume M miles, okay. So each mile traveled in excess of 100 miles per day. So nothing for the first 100 miles. It's just for the remaining number of miles. Obviously, it has to be more than 100 miles. Otherwise, this is never going to be equal, right? So this is too high a charge. Okay. To have them equal, you must have crossed 100 miles. And it's given that it's traveling the same number of miles each day. Okay. Now, the point here is it's excess of 100 miles per day, not cumulative over 3 days or any number of days. Okay. Every day when you cross 100 miles, it will start charging you 20 cents more. Okay. So every day the meters reset at 100, zero. I mean, you're allowed the first 100 miles and then the rest. Okay. So this will also become multiplied by 3. So we can just get the 3 out of the way, right? Instead of comparing for 3 days, we just compare for one day. If one day's cost is the same, so every day's cost will be the same. So this will come out to be 35 here equals zero point 0.2 times m minus 100. So divided by 0.2, so that would be m minus 100 is equal to 175, I think. So m would be 275. So that means what is the total number of miles? So now the question is total number of miles. This m that we have calculated is for one day, right? So for 3 days, it would be 3 times. So that would be 825 miles in all that you have traveled, okay? So that's the fifth option again. All right, let's quickly go to the next one. Computer set a speed record by computing arithmetic operations at the rate of this many operations per second. At this rate, which of the following is closest to the fraction of an hour it would take to complete 1 million mega operations? Okay, so you have 1.026 times 10 to the power 15 operations per second. And you need million means 10 to the power 6. So 1 million mega. So 1 mega operation is 1 million operations. So 10 to the power 6 times 10 to the power 6 operations would take how much time? So this is the total work that you have to do. This is the rate of doing work you divide. So you have 10 to the power 12 divided by. So you can remove 10 to the power 12 here and you have 10 cube. So you write the 10 cube here 1, 2, 3. So it would be 1026 times this seconds. Okay. And it's saying at this rate, which of the following is closest to the fraction of an hour it will take? So you are going to take 1 divided by 1026 seconds. For hours, this is going to be this value. So this is closest to, so 6 6 are 36. Okay, let's use a calculator here. Let's quickly calculate this here, I mean. So 1026 is like 1000 and 6 6 are 36 with 100. So the value would come to, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 to the power minus 5 and 1 by 36. 1 by 36 is very close to, if I write it as 100 over 36 to be around 3. Okay. And if I put in 100 here, then I have to adjust by doing minus 7. So it's roughly 3 times 10 to the power minus 7 number of hours. So that is the fourth option. Let's go to the next one. The rule of 72 states to approximate the number of years it takes a sum of money at k% to double, divide 72 by k. All right, fine. So if it is like at 4%, then 72 by 4 is 18 years it will take. Okay, roughly. That's what the idea is. So it's saying Eric invested $10,000 at 8%. When the investment become 20,000, so that means that would have taken him how much? 72 divided by 8, 9 years. Then he invested that sum as 12%. How many years after this will it become 40,000? So at 12%, the 72 divided by 12 will take 6 more years. So the question is, how many years after his initial investment would it become 40,000? So it's 9 years here and 6 years here, 15 years. So that's the fourth option. Marco paid 9,000 for 2 used automobiles. The amount he paid for the more expensive was 300 less. So the more expensive was 300 less than 3 times for the less expensive. This. And we know that M plus L is 9,000. So you just replace. So M is 3L minus 300 plus L. So 4L is 9,300. Okay. 4L, if I plug in minus 300 goes that side. So L would be 9,300 minus divided by 4. That's the lower, least expensive. Okay. So we want the more expensive value. So that would be 9,000 minus this. So this now let's calculate that. This is 2325. If I subtract, so that's going to be 75, 6675. So that's the fourth option. All right, now some inequalities. On the number line, which of the following sets of all numbers, which of the following set of all numbers such that the sum is less than 2? All right. So a quick way of doing this is draw the line. This is 3 and 4. Now, if your x value is here, okay, and if I say the mod means the distance, so if I have this as the distance d, then clearly this distance is d plus 1 because this is 1, right? This gap. So the sum of the two distances, so d plus 1 is less than 2. So 2d is less than 1. So d is less than 0.5. That means this can be 4.5. So an upper limit has to be a 4.5. We can just mark this. Okay. Alternatively, because it's symmetric, right? I mean, there are no coefficients of x and all that stuff, symmetric. So if you look at somewhere between 3 and 4, any value, the sum, like let's say for 3.5 is coming out to be 1. See, this is coming out to be 1, obviously, because any point in between would be what? This distance plus this distance, okay? We are using the basic definition of mod here. So here it is also less than 2. And if I go to up to this symmetric here, d value came out to be 0.5, right? So if I think of it as a mirror image, then this side should also be a 0.5 to 2.5. 2.5 will be the other extreme. If you plug in C 2.5 here, so this will be 0.5 and 1.5, which will come out to be 2. So answer is the fourth option. So here I'm kind of explaining every question, right? So that's why it's taking a bit of time. I would have otherwise like raced through the entire section by now. But then, okay. So let's compute this. You just compute this. I think this is much easier. Don't try to make fractions on top. 4 to the power minus 5 below means 1 by 4 to the power 5, right? So that comes on top as 4 to the power 5 times minus 3 minus this. When you multiply these two, the powers get added. So it's 4 squared minus these two powers get added, 4 to the power 0. So 16 minus 1. So the answer is 15. So that's the third option. and I have to keep on opening the pen, digital pens to keep on writing. So that's also taking up some time here. All right, next. Which of the following is this? So it is rationalize. We'll do root 6 minus root 2 divided by root 6 plus root 2. First step, instead of rationalizing straight away, take out root 2 common and get this reduced. So this is root 3 minus 1 and root 3 plus 1. Get rid of this root 2. Okay. Now you rationalize. So you multiply root 3 minus 1, root 3 minus 1. So on top is squared. So a squared minus 2ab plus b squared divided by a squared minus b squared here. So 3 minus 1. So that's 4 minus 2 root 3 by 2. So that's 2 minus root 3. So that's the second option. Next, the operation square is defined by this. If a square b is 0, so that means a plus b plus ab is 0. So b is not minus 1. What is a in terms of b? So let's take the a is common. A times 1 plus b. Take the b that side. So a in terms of b would be negative b by 1 plus b. So negative b by 1 plus b, that's the fifth option. Which of the following value is a value of x for which this is positive? All right. So you can just maybe plug in values, but then that would be difficult to compute. We'll like to quickly simplify it. So let's add x to the power minus 7 on both sides. That would give us this greater than x to the power 7 minus 7. I'm just shifting to the other side. Okay. Now, remember a rule that in inequalities, you cannot multiply or divide by any variable unless you know what the sign is, because x could be negative, right? So if I divide by a negative x, then the inequality can flip. We don't know that. But then there is no restriction on doing it with a number which is always positive. So if I multiply, if I know that I'm multiplying a positive quantity, inequality is not going to change. So I'm just going to multiply x to the power 10 on both sides, because x to the power 10 is always even. It will always be positive. This side will become x, this side will become x cube. So we are basically searching for x bigger than x cube. So let's start with negative 2. Negative 2 is bigger than negative 8. Yes. So this one is a valid answer. Okay. That's the first option. Next. A certain law firm has 28 lawyers and has offices in 3 states, X, Y, Z. Every lawyer in the firm is either licensed in all 3 or is licensed in only one. Okay, so if you have the 3 states like this, and there are 28 lawyers in all, each lawyer is licensed in all 3 or licensed in only one. That means this overlap of 2 is 0. Okay. And outside in no state is also 0. Now 10 lawyers in X, 11 are in Y, and 13 are in Z. How many are licensed only in Z? Okay. So if I take this to be A, then this is 11 minus A, this is 10 minus A, and this is 13 minus A. The sum of these should be 28. So let's quickly add them up. So 10 plus 11 plus 13. So that's basically 24 plus 10. 34 minus 3a plus a is 28. 34 minus 2a is 28. So 2a is 6, a is 3. So they are saying how many are licensed in only Z. So only Z is 13 minus a. So that's 10. That's the fourth option. Next. A certain amount of 8% copper ore was mixed with 3% ore to get 6% ore. So if I, let's say, do it on a scale, with 3%, you mix 8%, the beam gets balanced at 6%. How many tons of the 8% was used to make this mixture? Total is 300 tons. Okay, so now if you look at the deviations, we are using the sum of deviations is 0 for an average. Okay, so this side deviation is +2, this side deviation is -3, right? 3 minus 6, 8 minus 6. To make the sum 0, So we have to take this 3 times to get 6 and take this 2 times to get -6 so that they cancel out. That means this has to be taken 2 times and this has to be taken 3 times. 2 is to 3. Now this total is basically 5 that corresponds to 300 tons. So 1 is basically 60 tons. So they're asking how many of the 8%, which is 3. So 3 would be 180 tons. So that is the fifth option. If A and B are the least and the greatest non-negative, okay, non-negative means 0 or positive. Real number solutions of this, what's the value? Okay. So mod of x minus 6 we keep as it is. A number 5 outside the mod can be taken out and we rewrite it as 5.5. So we'll just cross multiply 27.5. Now remove the mod. So that would give us x minus 6 less than equal to 27.5 greater than equal to minus 27.5. All right. Fine, this is okay. And then we add 6 throughout. So x is less than equals 33.5 greater than or equal to minus 21.5. So that's your x. They're asking if A and B are the least and greatest solutions to this real number, not integers. Okay. So the greatest solution would be 33.5. Okay. Because that's the highest. And since non-negative is there, the least solution would be 0. So they are asking, sorry, A and B are the least. A is the least, sorry. So A would be 0 actually, and B would be 33.5. They're asking what is B minus A, so that's 33.5. So that's the fourth option. All right, we have just two left. The average of the 5 numbers U, W, X, Y, Z. All right, 5 of them is 14, and that's the order as well. Z is 26, so that means the largest number is 26. Okay, so that means U plus W plus X plus Y plus Z is 70, that is 26. So that means these four would add up to 70 minus 26, so that's 44. What's the least possible value of the median? So we have to get the median of all 5, means X we have to minimize. To minimize X, remembering that Y cannot exceed 26. So what I'll do is I'll make Y as large as possible first, so that the contribution from U, W, and X becomes much smaller, reduced. So if 25 is gone, then 44 minus 25 would be 19. Now we have to distribute 19 among these three such that U is less than W is less than X. So if I had my way, 19 over 3 is 6 point something, right? So I could have easily done 6.3, 6.3, 6.3, but then I can't do that. First of all, they are integers. Okay. So it's basically 6. I would have done 6, 6, and 7 because I have to keep the order, right? The smaller ones on this side and so on. So I would like to do 6, 6, 7 and then 25, 30, 26. But then these two are becoming equal, which I can't keep. So I have to reduce this and increase this. So first I will try to do it like 5 and make this 7. But then I am now getting these two equal. So what I do is don't change this, keep it as it is, just increase this by 1. So your series would be 5, 6, 8, 25, 26, and the median is here. So let's just cross check 5 plus 6, 11, plus 8 is 19, 25 plus 26 is 51. So that's 70, which is satisfying. The answer is 8. That's the third option. The range of a function is the set of all possible values of the function. Okay, so that means the y values they're talking of. The function is 1 over x squared plus 1. The range is the set of, what is the correct set of values of y that you get. So if you look at it, x squared, whatever happens is always positive. At best, it can be 0. Okay. So the 1 plus x squared plus 1, if this becomes 0, you get 1, and that is the maximum possible value, right? Otherwise, for any value of x squared, the denominator will always become slightly more than the numerator and will always become less than 1. Now, if x tends to infinity, which is like assuming that it's a very huge, big number, then the denominator also tends to infinity. So 1 by tending to infinity, a number would make it tending to 0. So that means this will always be less than 1, maybe equal to, but always greater than 0. So between 0 and 1. So it's not all real numbers. It's not this. It's all positive. No. All real numbers greater than or equal to 0, less than or equal to 1. Okay. It says greater than or equal to 0. So that's wrong because you can't have equal to 0 here. Okay. All positive real numbers less than or equal to 1. Yes. Because it's clearly saying all positive. So that means it's greater than 0. It's talking of real numbers. So fractions are fine. Less than or equal to 1. Yes, that's true. So it is the fifth option. So here, if you had not paid attention to that greater than or equal to, you would have got it wrong. So it's 5, and we are done with this section with 10 minutes remaining. Let's end the section review. I'm now going to take a break and we'll be back with the verbal section next.